Hello everybody, Dr. Bob Vaughn with Health Source of Blaine, and I'm here today with our Baby Steps to Health podcast and YouTube here. And what we're looking at here is we're talking about omega-3 fatty acids, or your fish oils, as they're most commonly known. Now, there's a lot of confusion about these out there, so we want to make sure we set the record straight. So first thing we want to look at is what are they? So omega-3 fatty acids, specifically the EPA and DHA, are essential nutrients, and essential means that your body is unable to make them on their own, and which means you must consume them. Now, normally, if we were hunter-gatherers, we would be able to consume these from our animal and plant-based diets, eating real food, mostly plants, not too much. But since we don't do that, and we're industrial humans now, we require supplementation of the omega-3 fatty acids. You're looking to between 2,000 to 2,500 milligrams per day of the two of them combined to make sure that you're getting enough of that. Some food sources of them, like salmon, a lot of that type of stuff, a lot of those, because of what we've done to the environment, are tainted. They have a lot of lead, mercury, a lot of other issues with them, so it's hard to consume enough of them from our diet. Also, they can be very expensive. You can get a supplement for a quality one for about $2 a day, so about half the cost of a cup of coffee that most people are obviously guilty of going in there, and it's actually way better for you than the sugar-filled coffee that most people are drinking. So getting those omega-3 fatty acids is extremely, extremely important. A lot of people don't understand what exactly they are or why you need them, and not to get too far into the boring biochemistry part of it, but what happens is basically every cell in your body's made up of trillions of cells. Every cell in your body has a membrane around it that allows for things to move back and forth between, and the omega-3 fatty acids are required in that membrane in order to make sure it's permeable, or it can allow things to move back and forth like they're supposed to. Now, what happens is when you get deficient in omega-3 fatty acids, your body uses omega-6 fatty acids because those are ample in the American diet. So they come from nuts, seeds, grains, a lot of things like that. We do have a small requirement for that, but we get way too much of that and not enough of the omega-3s in the standard American diet. What happens biochemically with that is when you have too many omega-6s and not enough omega-3s, what you will get when your cells break down, which they naturally do, and are replaced, if they have too much omega-6, they actually trigger an inflammatory pathway, which means they can cause pain, inflammation, swelling, a lot of different things. If you ever woken up and be like, man, I just don't know why it hurt, or just kind of random spots hurt for seemingly no reason, a lot of times that can be a sign of deficiency of the omega-3 fatty acids, because those cells break down, it triggers that inflammatory pathway, and then you start to get sore. If you have the correct amount of omega-3 fatty acids in your diet, specifically from the fish oil, the EPA, and the DHA, when those cells break down, it triggers a non-inflammatory pathway where the cells just break down, they're reproduced in, and you go about your business in a very healthy and safe manner with that. So it's really important to make sure you have those. Now, a lot of people look at omega-3s, like they try to use it as a treatment for something, like, oh, I can treat heart disease with this, I can treat so-and-so with this, I can treat so-and-so with it. They're not a treatment, they're a genetic requirement in order to make a healthy human. So it's really important to look at that. Now, there are benefits to taking the omega-3 fatty acids for someone who is sick, but there are also a lot of benefits for taking them as you're healthy to continue to be healthy and prevent that sickness and illness. So that's something really important to take a look at. A lot of the research out there, I know there was recently a review study published in the American Medical Association journal that tried to say that omega-3 fatty acids were not beneficial, but if you actually look at the research that they reviewed, they did not specify a dosage in any of the studies. Or for the review studies, they did not specify what the required dosage of omega-3 fatty acids is. To tell you how ridiculous that research would be, that's like trying for them to try to study a medication, but not monitoring how much of the medication the person's taking. And that sounds pretty ridiculous. Well, that's what they did with the omega-3, and then they tried to say that it didn't work because none of the studies that they reviewed actually used the therapeutic dose of the EPA or DHA. So obviously none of them were going to work. Also, they looked at mostly already sick people, and they didn't look at people for prevention or health with it. So you really have to be careful on the research that you're looking at, not just who did it, but how it was conducted, look at the methods, things like that. So that's why it's really good to have a healthcare practitioner that can explain that type of stuff to you, help walk you through that, because you can manipulate statistics and all sorts of other things and how you perform the study to get it to say whatever you want, which is unfortunate that people will do that. but it's really important to have that knowledge for yourself and be able to read those things and pay attention to that to really get that taken care of. So the omega-3 fatty acids, extremely important, the EPA and DHA specifically, and why you need the EPA and DHA as opposed to the smaller ALA. So a lot of people will take a plant-based omega, which is typically the shorter chains, right? The EPA and DHA are long-chain fatty acids, right? So they're big chains. The plant-based ones are little chains, and our body is capable of taking little chains and putting them together and making bigger chains, but the process is extremely slow, and our body isn't able to keep up with the demand of what we need for that in order for us to continue to be healthy. So it is important to make sure that you are getting the EPA and DHA specifically, and the majority of those come from plant-based or from animal-based supplements. So you're looking at, you know, a good organic fish oil. You want something that comes from, you know, like mackerel, herrings, things like that. The krill oils, they talk a lot about them, how they have more omega-3 per volume, which means the krill, which is a almost microscopic animal, has more omega-3 per volume than like a fish does. But the dosage, if you look at the dosage on the package, there's only like 150 to 200 milligrams of omega-3 fatty acids in a serving of krill oil, which means you need to take 10 servings a day to get your therapeutic dose. So suddenly that bottle goes from a month's supply to about a week supply. So you want to make sure you're taking a look at the dosage of what you're getting as well. If you have more questions, things like that, on the omega-3s, other supplements, things like that, stay tuned. Feel free to share this video as well. This is Dr. Bob Vaughn, your local health and wellness expert. Have an awesome day, and appreciate you helping us create a world free of chronic pain and illness by making health simple, easy, and fun. And remember, great health is a choice only you can make.